What's up, guys? All right. I usually don't do race reviews, as you guys know, but every once in a while there'll be a race or something that happens that, I feel like putting my 2 cents into it for what it's worth. So here we have a road course that took the place of another oval race, uh, a crown jewel race, right? The Brickyard was always a crown jewel race, right? That's how big of a race it was that NASCAR had no problem just bumping it off the schedule to add this. Um, I know a lot of people complained about the racing at the Brickyard in recent years, but NASCAR, instead of fixing the problem, which is the race package, which created the type of racing we see where it's hard to pass, too much wide open throttle, um, trying to replicate the Daytona and Talladega, instead of looking at that and saying, okay, this package doesn't work, it's actually a bad thing for the product, let's fix it so we can go back to the better days of racing where you had off throttle time, mechanical grip, and drivers had more control of their fate. So instead of fixing the package, NASCAR says, well, just chop this track off the schedule and put a road course in there. That's going to guarantee that these guys are going to have a lot of bumping and beating and banging and that kind of stuff. And of course, that's entertainment, and that's what we want because the closer you could keep these cars bunched up together, the more excitement it brings. Now, much like Coda, another shit show road course race that we got this year, a lot of the people who support this are going to tell you how amazing this race was. This race was not amazing except for the fact that it was amazingly bad. It had its moments sprinkled in here and there of some good racing, but a couple of moments do not make a race. This race started at 1:20 ish. I forgot what time it finished, but the race went for about 5 hours, maybe longer. All right, don't quote me on that, but the race was extremely long, and a lot of it was due to these red flags because of the turtles in that infamous corner that created massive problems. Now, some things happen in these races that are just unpredictable, and you have to deal with it on the fly. So technical issues because of that, you know what? I can accept that. It's how NASCAR handled it. And as usual, especially lately, NASCAR doesn't know how to handle situations like this. They seem to make things worse. Almost half the field taken out by that pile up and that, all because of that curb. They finally removed the curb. They have more racing. Uh, NASCAR calls cautions all the time for a lot of times reasons where you're scratching your head and you're like, did that have to be a caution? Not really. But here you had a whole bunch of garbage all over the track from the previous wreck or from the wreck that just happened, and no caution. They just let these drivers drive through it, create more wrecks. I don't know. The worst part hasn't happened yet, by the way. If you think the curb was the worst part of this race, it wasn't. Not to me. Because how did, well, you know what? Some people are not going to blame NASCAR. They're going to blame NBC, but this is how they rewarded people who sat through this garbage, who sat through all that red flag, of NASCAR really not knowing what the fuck they're doing and just sitting and waiting and waiting. And you're already invested because no matter how bad the race is, you just spent hours of your day watching this shit show. So the least that you at least want to see how this fucking thing ends, just to put this shit away and see what happens. And then NBC decides, you know what we're gonna do? with the last couple of laps to finish this race, we're going to cut away because we have something more important than the finish of this race that people invested hours and hours of their day watching. We have something more important: golf. Not just regular golf, but amateur golf. We couldn't miss a couple of holes of amateur golf to show the finish of a race that started at 120 and people sat through a shit show, and you couldn't give them the last couple of laps to close out the day. So, yes, a lot of people were able to just go watch it on NBC Sports. But not everybody has NBC Sports. Not everybody has cable. Not everybody happened to be watching the race from the comfort of their home. They might not have been home. They might have been somewhere else. Whatever the reason, a lot of people got fucked. And for me, I had to watch the conclusion of this race as a replay on YouTube. This is how they reward people for spending time watching a shit show. By the way, the announcers spent half the race reminding you of the Brickyard and showing clips of glory days from the past of the Brickyard. Meanwhile, they're not on the oval. I mean, they're technically on the Brickyard, but it's the road course. Has nothing to do with the history of the oval. So it's a crown jewel. There's so much rich history associated with the Brickyard, so much so that they spent a large portion of this race just reminding you of the history. But it's such an amazing, important venue that NASCAR had no problem just taking it off the schedule because they don't want to fix the race package. Because that would be too hard. The easy thing is just, well, let's just stop running there. Just throw them on the road course. See what happens. I don't know about you guys, but when somebody keeps telling me how awesome and awesome and awesome something is that's clearly not, it's offensive. This is like they're serving you a pile of shit on a plate and telling you it's filet mignon. And you know damn well that you're looking at a pile of shit. You even see the flies swarming over the pile of shit. But meanwhile, the waitress is trying to convince you that that is fine dining. That's a plate with filet mignon on it. And that's what this is. It's another shit show that everybody's trying to tell you how awesome it was. The same people that told you how awesome Coda was. Another fucking shit show. That doesn't work on me. I don't know how you guys feel, and I'm sure a lot of you will disagree. And you're going to tell me that this was good, that, this was so much better than the Brickyard. Then why are these guys reminding me that this is a crown jewel event, or used to be? If you cut it out the schedule, you're just reminding me of what makes the Brickyard so iconic. And just reminding me that what I'm watching is not the Brickyard. So you cut away from the last couple of laps. That's how you reward people. Now, NASCAR, you could say, and I've seen some people already say it, it's not on them. This is NBC's decision. I've seen people say, well, it's not NBC's fault that the curb was an issue and all this other. They're just pointing fingers everywhere but NASCAR. Like, when NASCAR makes these contracts with NBC, with Fox, with whoever, why is this allowed? Why isn't this a stipulation in the contract that you can never cut away from a NASCAR race? You have to show it to its completion, unless there's a rain delay. You don't see this shit with other sports. You're watching baseball, football, basketball, they go to its conclusion. They don't cut away and tell you to go tune into another channel. This only happens with NASCAR. And this happened already. I don't know if it happened this year at Daytona. I listen, I got a bad memory. I'm getting old, so you'll have to forgive me. But I do remember making a video this year talking about a very similar occurrence where these networks just cut away from the end of a fucking race that people spent their valuable time invested in, and you just cut away, and you just expect people that they're going to be able to have access to wherever the fuck you cut away to. This is unforgivable, and NASCAR should be livid. And if I was NASCAR, I would be having a long, hard talk with NBC and every other network they work with. Why? You know what? I know why. I know why NBC has no respect for this. Because NASCAR has no respect for it. This isn't a sport anymore. It's entertainment. It's wrestling. They create these type of races that are designed just to create these moments of entertainment. Like Daytona and Talladega. Pack racing, all of that is designed for entertainment, for the possibility of big wrecks. I don't think it's as entertaining as other people do. I don't think it's a sport. I don't think it's a real competition. You're taking so much out of the driver's hands by putting them in these precarious situations, and you end up with a shit show. Coda was a shit show. This was a shit show. If this is so great, why constantly remind people about the Brickyard? A crown jewel event that NASCAR had no problem kicking off the schedule. There's a conflicting message there. If this is so awesome, let it speak for itself. And some of you, I know, are going to disagree with me. And you love road course racing. I don't know. I guess I'm in the minority. I'm not against all road course racing. I'm not against the fact that they decided to add more road courses. That's not the problem. They could have had it where there's 4 road course races, just like there's 4 restrictor plate races, Talladega and Daytona, that I have to fucking just accept, no matter what a boring conga line fest they are, that everyone keeps telling me is amazing. I accept it. 4 road courses in a NASCAR series, which by the way is historically an oval track series for stock cars. We already have plenty of race series that are all about road courses. We already have that. NASCAR was unique because it's stock cars on oval tracks. It's not for everybody, but that's what people loved about it. But now you're trying to do things that other people are doing, whether it fits or not. And people, I still see people saying what an amazing race this was. That the only problem was this issue with the curb. It wasn't the only issue. I mean, passing is hard here, just as it was on the Brickyard. I'm done. I'm done with it. If you guys enjoyed it, good for you. If I'm like the only one that feels this way, then where's the harm? Don't worry about my opinion. It is what it is. This is just something that I'll have to accept, and I have no control over it. And you guys get what you want. I'm telling you guys, the direction that NASCAR has gone, I actually thought for a moment that they understood that the problem was the race package. It doesn't seem so. It seems like, 1 second, guys. Hello, engineers. Wrong number. Are you guys tired of these phone calls, these robocalls that nobody seems to be able to do anything about? Yeah, that's a plague that somebody needs to do something, but I doubt it. I doubt anybody's going to do anything about it. But anyway, apologize for that. So where was I? Oh yes, the direction NASCAR's going. Yeah, pack racing. They haven't learned their lesson. This next gen car, I'm telling you guys, I every day that goes by, I'm less and less confident that we're going to get old school off throttle mechanical grip racing. They're still pushing more pack racing. uh Atlanta, instead of just repaving the track and then fixing the package, nope, let's just reconfigure the track to try to create a baby Daytona. I don't know, man. If this next gen car fails and just adds to this problem, NASCAR's in big trouble. Big trouble. Uh, yeah, the reason NBC can cut away from the end of a fucking race to show you amateur golf is because they don't respect NASCAR as a sport. And NASCAR's not doing anything about it. This is not the first time a network has cut away. And I had to see the finish. So that's my 2 cents on that. Let's watch the end of the race. You're going to watch this the way I did as a replay.
2 laps to go from Indy. A great restart for Denny Hamlin.
Here he comes into turn one. Chase Briscoe's going to give him a run for the money. Here's Briscoe to the outside, but he's going to be offline. No, Briscoe's in the grass. Now it's a battle for the lead with Hamlin and Allmendinger. Briscoe will come back onto the grass, and now he will be side by side with Denny Hamlin.
By the way, this was an exciting this was the best part of the race. The part that they cut away from. The finish, right? Just like Daytona Talladega, you sit through 4 hours of a fucking boring conga line, and you might get some big wrecks in between if you find that entertaining. But the one thing that Daytona Talladega always delivers is that finish, even though it's manipulated and it's created by the form of racing. One thing you can't say is that the end of a Daytona Talladega race is boring. So, yeah, this reminds me of that. And it's the one thing that I was just wanting to close out a shitty race. At least, how is this thing going to finish? So this was the best part of the race. And it's the part they cut away from, the very end.
Briscoe getting forced off course with a piece of debris that went flying off the race car when it happened, but they're back on course. Battle for the lead. Well, now exits turn 5 and 6, and Brian Newman gets the curving in turn 6.
Down the back straightaway, there's smoke out of the 11 car. It's all clear now, though. He leads them into 7. Briscoe right on his tail. We'll have to see how NASCAR...
Stop and go. 14 has a
stop and go for the 14 car. He is not racing for the win. Oh, he's going to spin Denny. Denny is spun out. The 14 car spun Denny Hamlin out into turn 10.
That puts A.J. Allmendinger in the lead because Briscoe will have to serve a penalty. He did not enter back onto the racetrack the way that you're supposed to. So A.J. Allmendinger is going to be the leader right here. Ryan Blaney right behind him. Kyle Larson behind him. Kyle Larson running back down.
Briscoe missed the turn. A.J. Allmendinger. He's in front. Ryan Blaney running in the second spot. And yes, Kyle Larson is right back in it in the 5. Coming up on 1 lap to go. One more time around. Larson takes.
Okay, look. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm sure all of you have seen it. You can go watch it, whatever. The point is, AJ goes to win. He goes on to win. This was disgusting. It was exciting. I'll give you that. But let's go back real quick. Okay. Now, I've seen a lot of people's reaction. Some people say Denny Hamlin forced Briscoe off the track, so he had it coming. Other people blame Hamlin. or Briscoe, okay, here's my interpretation. Here we are. Hold on a second. Let me slow this down a little bit. This way, this is the most important part of the race, right?
For the money.
Let me take the sound off. Watch this. You have Denny Hamlin and Briscoe side by side into one of the tightest corners of the whole course. Now, this is where people, I guess if you were rooting for Briscoe, you're upset because you're saying Hamlin forced him off the track into the grass. Look at this. They're 3 wide, okay? What is Denny Hamlin supposed to? And by the way, I'll save that for last. Where is he supposed to go? Is he supposed to cut hard to the right and crash into Allmendinger just to make sure that Briscoe, a guy he's racing for the win, has enough room on the inside so that what? Look at how these cars are bunched up in the corner. It's a racing deal. That's what I got from it. Okay? From the speed they were carrying into the super sharp corner, Hamlin had nowhere to go. Keep in mind, I can't stand Denny Hamlin. Never liked him. I don't really have a dog in the fight here. Don't care about anybody up front. Really don't. And a part of me enjoys watching Hamlin lose the race that he should have won. But I'm eliminating my personal feelings about anybody. I'm just looking at this as a viewer and what really happened. Hamlin had nowhere to go. They're 3 wide here, and look at the way that the grass cuts in and the track. This is really not tailor-made for stock cars. This is the type of situation you're going to get off of a restart or any time where the cars are bunched up. There's going to be cars that just get in a bad spot and there's nothing they can do. So, Hamlin did nothing wrong. He had nowhere to go. If he was alone and there was no one on the inside, then yes, he could have pulled in harder and make sure not to force Briscoe or anybody else onto the grass. But from the way these cars are situated, they are 3 wide. If he tries to pull in, he would have wrecked with Allmendinger, and it would have caused a massive wreck with other people. He did the best he could do coming into the corner. Again, I don't care about Hamlin at all. But he did nothing wrong here, and Briscoe did nothing wrong. He got caught in a bad situation. This is racing. He's racing side by side with this guy for the win, and these guys are 3 wide. This is what you're going to get at a road course with these sharp turns off of a restart. This is a product of the racing. This isn't anybody's fault. It's a racing deal. Let's go. He's forced off the track. And at this point, it's a split decision. He's just like, I'm into the grass. All I can do is cut across and try to not lose control of the car and get back on the course. Again, this is happening quick. So at this moment, I don't really blame Briscoe at all. This is just a split decision thing. He gets back on the track, but at this point, he has to know, okay, I cut right through the entire corner, through the grass. There's no way I'm in contention for winning. What happened. It's a bad deal. I understand if he's upset about it, but it's a racing deal, and it's just one of those things that come along with a road course. A lot of people get punted. It's not a fair deal for everybody. I'm sorry to say. So at this point, he should know damn well he is not in contention to win this race. He's supposed to at some point pit or whatever. He's going to get black flagged. So now the race continues. Hamlin has a fairly sizable lead right here. This is a good lead that he should be able to maintain. Now Allmendinger is starting to make up some ground, but still, he's got a cushion here. If you take Briscoe out the picture, there's plenty of room here. But here's the problem: Briscoe is a fucking bonehead, okay, and he's racing like he's still in contention for the win. At this point, his spotter, whoever the fuck his crew chief, should be telling him, what the fuck are you doing? Back off. No, I'm not backing off because I'm still upset that I got forced onto the grass, but it's a racing deal. But, I'm so mad that I'm going to race this guy as if I'm in contention for the win and take out somebody who has a clear, comfortable lead for the win. This is Hamlin's race, I'm sorry to say. But like a fucking bonehead, nope, I'm just going to take him out. And by the way, even if this was for the win, I'm not crazy about this move. Even if he was in contention for winning, that's a fucking dirty move. It just makes it worse that he had no business racing him that way. Completely took him out. This was Hamlin's race. He should have been the winner. And I fucking hate Hamlin. He got taken out because he's upset. He's clearly upset that he feels Hamlin didn't give him room. Even though they were 3 wide, Hamlin had nowhere to go. He took him out. And of course, AJ's up. Now he's the leader. And he goes on to win. Okay? He goes on to win. So we know how it ends now. Bear with me. Oh, okay. Here we go.
I was like, he went a bunch ahead of him, so I was trying to get him back. But I went side by side, going just you already had a penalty. They already called you as a penalty. I looked at you at 10, and they said, hey, you got something. Where's turn 10? First of all, I didn't run you wide. I got hit by the 16. You ran off the track. Still can't run dead in the back of you. I wasn't trying to. Like I said, I was trying to turn underneath you. I just barely put the right rear. I was not trying to turn you. I had no reason to turn you. Obviously, because you had a penalty. That's what
I want to show you something real quick. Where is it? Okay, right here. Fucking commercial. All right, so we know what happened at the end. Let's watch his reaction
right away. And to me, it's obvious if you cut the racetrack and you end up in the lead, you're gonna have a penalty. So lack of awareness, and then I just said race me for a lap. It just run right in the back of me. I mean, how are we? Can't race that way. So he didn't. I don't think he did it malicious. I've raced, with him for a year now. It's, he's not that kind of person, but it was just a bad judgment.
How would you describe the racing down into turn 1? Obviously, everybody going for it.
Yeah, no doubt. I got hit by the 16 entering the corner, so he shoved me out. Then I shoved him to the right, and then the 14 cut the track and took the lead for this second there. And I don't know. I thought we were probably in good shape there, but I mean, this just turns everything upside down.
So you have to think about what Chase said to you, or you feel like his explanation is something you can accept and deal with?
I mean, I can accept it. I mean, the roles have been reversed.
Trying to overhear, but what was the discussion between you and Denny?
First of all, let me just point this out. Denny Hamlin, there's a part of me that in that moment, I gave him a little credit because I said, you know what? He's handling the whole thing extremely nice about it, like really mature and rational, but it doesn't fit the situation because he got taken out and he's making excuses for this fucking kid. Um, the guy took him out. He had no business doing what he did, and the guy is full of shit. He's trying to like, oh, I didn't know if I was that I was like not in contention. I didn't realize about the penalty. Come on, man. You cut through the entire grass and you think that you still had a chance to win the race? He knew what the fuck he was doing. He's full of shit. And this is what I don't respect. If you're going to do something like that, stand behind it. What he should have said was, I was mad. He took me out. He knocked me into the grass, didn't give me room. And you know what? He took me out. I took him out. I wouldn't agree with it because, as you saw, it was a racing deal. But from his point of view, if he said that, I could understand. Because he's on the inside. Hamlin was there. Hamlin took the bottom. He had nowhere to go but the grass. So in his mind, I understand why he would be mad at that moment. He doesn't see AJ all the way on the outside, and that's why, Hamlin couldn't move up. But I get it. And if he came out and said, I thought that I didn't know AJ was on his outside, I thought that he pinched me into the grass on purpose. And I was upset and I raced him hard, but my mind was, hey, he took me out. And he took me out, I'm going to race him the way he raced me. If he said that, I would have more respect for him. But he didn't do that. Watch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's upset. I would have been too. He just came down there and asked what I was doing. I don't think he realized I didn't even know I had a penalty until we got to turn 10.
Bullshit. You didn't know you had a penalty? You didn't know that. You cut through the entire grass.
I asked my spotter after the race and didn't ever hear, but we got to turn 10 and actually exited 10. And that's when he said, hey, we got to stop and turn 10.
This didn't happen in the next corner. It wasn't like, okay, it was a split second thing where it took a second or two to realize, hey, I'm not in this, or the spotter to say, hey, back off, you got a pit, you've been black flagged. This shit happened way later. There was plenty of time. No, he was upset and he was racing Hamlin like he wanted to take him out, and he did. At least have the fucking balls to admit it. I could never be a fan of Chase Briscoe. This shit rubs me the wrong way, and I know this is out of bounds, but he's got a little bit of a Kyle Busch look to him. That doesn't help. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that, but that's a little out of bounds, but
I said, which one's 10? And then I just tried stopping down there because I didn't know if that would make up for it or not. And yeah, I mean, I get why he's upset. I would have been upset too, but Denny's been in my situation where you're trying to go for your first win, and he asked why I didn't wait. Well, I felt like that was my best opportunity to win the race if I could get under him there, and I knew AJ was going to be quick either way, and I had older tires, so I had to try to get going when I could, and
all right, that's enough of that. No balls. If you're gonna do something like that, then just be upfront and just say, hey, at the moment, I was upset. I thought he took me out. I didn't realize till later that we were 3 wide. It wasn't his fault that he pinched me into the grass. He didn't really race me dirty. It's just one of those things where this is a product of this type of racing into turn 1 off a restart, going for the win. Everybody's bunched up, desperately trying to make a move, and a lot of people get screwed, and it sucks. And it's a tough situation. But at the moment, I thought Hamlin took me out. And my mind was like, screw this. You took me out of a possible win. I'm not letting you win. I would have had more fucking respect if you came out and said that. But instead, he made excuses. He even said, I understand why he's mad. Well, you understand because what you did was stupid. and you don't have the balls to say the truth about why you did what you did, you're making excuses. Oh, I didn't know. I thought I was still in contention. I didn't realize till turn 10 in my spot. Then he throws his spotter under the bus. Come on. Don't fucking do that. I got no respect for that. And on top of that, you throw other people under the bus on your fucking team that you weren't told. Get the fuck out of here. And now, Hamlin, listen, man, like I said, at first, I kind of gave him some credit for taking the high road, but this no balls, this guy has no balls either. This motherfucker took you out. This should have been your race to win, and you didn't fucking, that's your response? That, oh, I don't think he's a dirty guy, I've raced him before, and blah, 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 and you made excuses. If I'm a member of this guy's team, I'm pissed off at him. I'm like, dude, you approach him or he approached you in the pits, and all you did was like fucking. It wasn't even a real confrontation, just a bunch of bullshit between two guys. You should have punched him in the fucking face. And NASCAR, since they're trying to be wrestling more than they are a legitimate sport, that would have fit right in. If I'm another competitor, I look at Hamlin, I'm not fucking worried about him at all. This guy got no fucking balls. So, I don't fucking, and I don't like Hamlin. I never did. So, for people who think, oh, you're a Hamlin fan, you're just upset that he lost. No. I don't like Hamlin. Never did. And I'm not losing any sleep over the fact that he lost or that he got lost the way he did. I'm looking at this as I'm disconnecting myself and just looking at it from a regular viewer. It's like, what the fuck? This is a shit show, and it's the perfect ending to what was a fucking garbage race. This is the perfect ending. And a lot of people, they're going to sell this to you as a great race. It was not a great fucking race. That's just my 2 cents about it. I knew there's a reason I don't fucking like this guy. No fucking balls. And he's raced people pretty fucked up in the past. So whatever, man. What goes around comes around. But there's a reason I don't fucking like some of these guys. This guy with his fucking mealy mouth, Kyle Busch looking self, making excuses. And this golly gee, I'd be upset too if I was him. Well, what the fuck? You did what you did, and it was clear. It was on purpose, and you were clearly driving like an angry driver. Don't tell me you didn't know that you were black flagged, that you thought you still had a chance to win, and you took him out anyway. So even if you were still in contention, you just fucking took the guy out. Fuck both of these guys. And by the way, it was nice watching AJ win. I like AJ. I like watching these guys who really struggle throughout their career come through and get a win. So I'm happy for him. I got no problem with him. He drove his ass off and he deserved it. So it is what it is. Again, I missed this live because NBC decided to cut away to make sure that you don't miss any of the action with amateur golf. This entire day was a shit show. NBC should be embarrassed. NASCAR should be embarrassed. And stop reminding us about the Brickyard. You cut the fucking oval out of the series, a crown jewel event. You chose to cut it out to serve this shit on a plate. You don't get to remind us of the Brickyard and how iconic and important this is. It's that this isn't what it is anymore. So those are my 2 cents. I don't know what else to say, but I don't know. I look forward to your comments later.